Okay. There we go.
Sorry for you too.
No, you're good. You're good. All right. Hi, everyone. Hi. Thank you so much. Oh, hello. Thank you so much for being patient. We were dealing with a few technical difficulties for those folks who are joining in online. We wanted to make sure we had the audio, which is funny because as chair of internet and technology, I have a lot of tech issues. But I really just wanted to thank you all for coming tonight and just really, thank NYU Dental for hosting us, but take a moment to appreciate the not only turnout here, but the turnout online. Leading up to this event, we had over 800 RSVPs and hundreds of phone calls, petition signatures sent our way. We had, so many folks actually reach out and say that they were happy that we were doing this type of engagement. So it's really good to be here, and I appreciate you all taking your free time to join us. If it's the first time we're meeting, my name is Kristen Gonzalez, and I'm the state senator for this part of Manhattan, along with parts of Western Queens and Northern Brooklyn. And it's an honor to share this space with you. I wanted to talk a little bit about why, as an office, we decided to have this town hall. And as someone who is a born and raised New Yorker, oftentimes growing up here, I saw my community and my neighborhood left out of every big decision that was made about us. And I believe, in both running for office and in being the state senator here, that a good democracy is one where we all get to participate. A strong one is where we get to do that. And that as a community, the best way to actually carve a path forward is by having all of your voices heard. We deserve a seat at the table. We deserve to create a positive vision for what Midtown can look like. And we deserve to set a standard for what a dignified life looks like here. And in all of those, emails, phone calls, messages that our office got, we heard some pretty common themes. We heard from folks in our neighborhood that, we want a neighborhood that includes affordable housing, that includes green space, that includes accessible healthcare that's nearby, that includes public safety and traffic control. So tonight we're here to talk about a really important casino proposal. But what we're also really excited about is this opportunity to come together and really, again, define what that positive vision is for our community. So again, thank you all for joining. I want to, again, thank NYU Dental. I want to thank the incredible electeds who are here tonight and who co-sponsored this event. Senator Liz Krueger, who's here, and Assemblymember Epstein, as well as the Borough President, Mark Levine, Councilmember Keith Powers, and Carlina Rivera. And we also have a representative from Congressman Nadler's team. So thank you all for coming. I also wanted to shout out my incredible staff who worked very hard talking to a lot of you to get you ready for tonight. So let's give them a round of applause. And then I know, being mindful of time, I wanted to just outline what tonight's agenda looks like. So you know what to expect and you know how we're managing this. So first, we're going to have a quick presentation from the Gaming Commission to talk about what the actual process is for how this casino proposal will move through once we get to that point. So we'll have a presentation from them, followed by comments from our elected officials, followed by some quick presentations from community partners who were part of this event. And then we'll actually shift to a question and answer, to a presentation from the Soloviev group. And I want to thank them for joining tonight as well, so that you all have the right and correct information about what this proposal really is. And based on all of that you'll hear in the first half, we're then going to open it up for a Q&A. So for Q&A, you all should have received 2 cards. So a white one or one that might be yellow or blue or red. So if you have a question, write it down while you're listening to our presentations and start passing that to the ends of your row. And you'll see our team kind of coming up and down the stairs just to collect those cards. So we're going to do a quick question Q&A. We'll look at the cards. And then the second card that you have can be used to write down any comments. We do have an online form if folks would rather do it that way, which we'll put up the QR code for during that section. And then we'll also have the comment section be on both of these mics, but we'll come up and remind you of that. And then we'll end the night with, on the way out, you should have seen some boards. We'll have some visioning, so you can put on our foam boards what you want to see for this community. So it's a packed agenda. I'm going to stop there. And again, thank you all so much. So let's get started. Thank you. All right, I think this is all you, Jerry. I think you're next. There we go.
My name's Jerry Skurnik. I am one of the 6 members of the 7-member New York State Gaming Commission. We have one vacancy at the moment. We're all part-timers with a professional staff, almost all civil servants who actually regulate gaming throughout New York State, which means horse racing, charitable gaming, the New York State Lottery, and casinos. So it's what do I do to get to the next thing? Okay. Okay. So the state constitution, which was passed by the voters, allows 7 commercial casinos in New York State. That's to differentiate themselves from the Native American casinos, which are governed in a separate way, still regulated by the Gaming Commission. The first 4 are all been outside New York State, and the next up to 3 are to be, the process is now started to award the licenses to up to 3 additional casinos. Theoretically, they don't all have to be downstate. By the way, downstate is defined as south of Orange County. But it's unlikely anybody from out north of Orange County is going to apply because there already are 4 casinos in that area. Okay. Those are the casinos that are already created, the 4 commercial casinos. So this is the process. We, the Gaming Commission, are not the people who are going to make the choice of who gets the license. It's a separate body called the Facilities Location Board. It has 3 to 5 members, 4 of whom have been appointed, and they will make the decision. As you see, the money we raise from the casinos will go into New York State government. We're in the process now. Nobody has actually submitted an official application yet. We posted on our website, the Gaming Commission, people's opportunity for people to ask questions about the process. The first set of questions were asked at the beginning in May and were answered in November, and the second set were submitted then. And once those answers are posted on our website, 30 days from that day, the applications are due. It's likely that we will post those answers either at the end of January or early in February. So when the applications are actually submitted to the Casino Facilities Location Board, will probably be sometime in March. And until then, all the people that we hear about being applicants for the board it's in theory. Nobody is an official applicant unless till they file the applications. It's possible that one of the developers interested in it will decide it's not worth the effort. It's also possible that somebody no one's ever heard of will make a last-minute application. I think both those things are unlikely, but just keep that in mind. So once the applications are submitted, before anything is done, casino facility, the community advisory committees will be appointed. Each location will have a community advisory committee, and it's based on exactly where it's located. And in New York City, the governor will have one appointee, the mayor will have one, the borough president will have one, the local council member, the local senator, and the local assembly member, who each have one appointee. And they will go through a process of public hearings. They'll have to have at least 2 public hearings, open to, and get some more information there, I don't have to explain that. The location, the Community Advisory Committee, each application has to be approved by 3/4 of the members. So any 3 members of the Community Advisory Committee can reject, if 3 vote against it, the application is dead. There's nothing the Casino Facilities Location Board can do. There's no appeal. Like I said, they're appointees of the elected officials who will make that decision. These are the members of the Casino Facility Location Board. We have 4 at the moment. We may or may not appoint the 5th one before the process is begun. This is what I explained before, what the process is. And this is how the community advisory committees will operate. No, this is the latest complication having to do with zoning, which I'm sure most of you heard of. At the moment, every one of these, any application has to go through ULURP and be approved by both the community board and the city planning commission. In order to and it's not just zoning. Some of the locations have to go through some other issues. Some have some mapping issues. And the city field application is theoretically on parkland and actually needs state legislation to allow anything other than a park or a parking lot, which it is now, to be used by that property. The city planning commission has proposed a change in the zoning so that each casino does not have to go through the zoning process. That's just a proposal. That's just a proposal, and it's the city planning commission that's made that recommendation, not me, and not the gaming commission. The theory, just like I explained, the theory is the casino facility location board can't make a decision until it's known who are all the eligible applicants. They can't make a decision knowing these 3 are definitely approved by the community board and by the city planning commission and the community advisory committee. And there are 2 others that might be available, because if only 3 are available, they automatically might get it. And it could turn out that the 4th or 5th or 6th one is actually a better applicant. So the theory was get everything done at once. But if it doesn't happen, like I said, it hasn't been approved by city planning and it still has to be approved by the city council. And we have no idea when that's going to happen. This is actually what I was just saying in longer words, more words of what I just said about why the city is considering this proposal of not having the community boards have to approve them.
Let me jump in here. Just want to set some community guidelines. I totally hear what folks have been saying. Jerry's just giving a presentation on behalf of the Gaming Commission, so any questions that you have or comments, Q&A, we'll collect those questions, but comment section will be open mic. So Jerry will be here, I'll be here, so we'll receive some of this feedback. So we're just trying to reduce side conflicts as we're discussing. But thank you all so much.
So once the applications are all approved and by the community advisory committee and by whatever has to happen either by the overall zoning the proposal being passed, or each community board and the city planning commission approves all of them, and any mapping issues are done. This is what the gaming facilities location board has to consider. This is what the applicants have to put up and what they have to propose. Part of their application is what they're willing to pay in the gaming tax. The minimum is 25% on slot machines and 10% another gaming. Other gaming means table games, basically. But anybody, if they bid, the ones who bid a higher number, of some applicant is willing to say, we'll give 30% of table games, that would help their application, presumably. But that's not the only, money is not the only criteria that's being used by the facilities location board. These are some of the others. Economic activity and business development. And you may have heard about the upstate casinos actually not producing as much revenue for the state as they were anticipated, which is true. I mean, they are producing some revenue, but all of them have produced jobs in upstate areas that actually needed jobs and more economic development. And that's one of the main goals. I got 30 seconds, so let me jump through this and see if there's anything more. Okay, what the casino location, what I explained to people, the facilities location board will award the license. We on the gaming commission will then issue the license, and that'll be done when our staff goes through, finishes investigating them and makes sure that each applicant can actually do what they say they could. And that's the end, actually. And if you want to get more information, there's our website, nycasinos.ny.gov, and most of the answers to the questions and other things are on there. And I'm sticking around when you guys submit your answers, questions.
Okay, let's give it for Jerry one more time. Thank you, Jerry. So we're gonna, thank you so much. We're gonna switch to our elected officials who are here. So I'm just gonna introduce Senator Krueger. You'll go up first, and feel free to stand up at the podium. Okay, thank you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Liz Krueger. Thank you. So I'm one of the Manhattan state senators, but no longer this geography's state senator. I am delighted to be working very closely with Kristen Gonzalez, my new colleague, who apparently didn't understand only crazy people take 3 borough districts. I'm just saying, apparently we forgot to tell you that part. So for those of you who don't know her in her office, please have a chance to get to know them because they're terrific. And I really enjoy working with her as I enjoy my other Manhattan colleagues. So I've been in the Senate 22 years and I'm a little bit of an open book. So I'm not here to say that much tonight. One, I want to let people know that on February 22nd, I am also going to have a web-only discussion about the impact on urban environments from casinos. Because I think it's really important for people to be thinking through, what does it mean in our very densely populated little island, because we are a pretty small island, to have casino or casinos participate in our economy and in our neighborhoods, and the impact on land use and real estate and everything else. So it's not specific to this proposal tonight, which is really going to be a discussion in a minute, but I think it's really important that we hear from experts who have been studying the impact on existing casinos in other cities and states and countries, and to factor that into the process as we go forward. So just make a note, February 22nd, we'll get information out. I think many of my colleagues are co-sponsoring that event with me, as I'm co-sponsoring with Kristen tonight. And I am an open book, so it's nothing personal. I don't like gambling. I always vote against everything for gambling. I think the negatives outweigh the positives. It doesn't matter whose proposal it is. But I will factor that. But I will factor that into the decision-making that goes forward. But again, it's not that hard to look at my record. I voted against every gambling bill in Albany, I think, since I've been there. So, although if I'm picking on gambling, I'll tell you what, I really hate the lottery. It's the government telling people lies, $1 in a dream and you're gonna win. Your odds in lottery are the worst of anything. So if you're betting your money on lottery and you're worried about feeding your kids and taking care of your housing, please don't believe the commercials. We lie to you, okay? So anyway, thank you so much. And Kristen, thank you for giving me this time to speak tonight. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
All right. I'm gonna introduce Harvey.
If you want to come up on stage. There we go. Sorry about that.
Thanks, Kristen, and thank you, Liz, for the overview. My name is Harvey Epstein. I'm the assembly member here in the 74th District. And just want to give people some foundation information. Let's be clear, this is a two-step process. The first step is we're going to have a 6-person board with representation from the mayor, the governor, the senator, the council member, the borough president, myself. We're each going to have an appointee. 4 out of those 6 people have to vote yes before any of the stuff that Jerry was talking about will go forward. So you will have a lot of opportunity to have community input. We want to hear from you tonight. We want to hear the feedback that people have, whether things that they like and things that they don't like. As Liz, I'm an open book. I've been fighting for affordable housing for decades in this city. What we really need is more housing, and that's what I've been fighting for and will continue to fight for. And I say that, I know Liz has been doing exactly the same thing as well as Kristen. But you will have a lot of opportunities. We are committed to have many more community conversations. So I know some people are stressed out. This is going to be the last time. This won't be. What won't happen is we won't allow people to have a conversation without us involved. Once we vote, then the state will, through the commission, we will have less say. If this project moves forward, this community will have less say. So it's really important this year for people to be engaged. So you're here tonight, go to Liz's event in February. I'm having a town hall here next week. People want to come here to talk about this issue, other issues like potential closing at Bethesda Hospital. There's a lot of things going on in this neighborhood. We want you to be involved. We're here to get your feedback. Keep in mind that we will continue to listen to you because that is our responsibility. We are going to collectively make the best decision. And the reason we created this structure, so you all know, was to ensure this happened. When we voted on this bill in 2022, we wanted to make sure that the community had input. The initial legislation that the governor proposed didn't have this advisory board, and we thought we would get railroaded. We didn't want this community or any community to get railroaded into a proposal that some obscure state agency would have oversight on. So we are being directly accountable, the 6 of us, and 4 out of 6 of us have to vote yes for this project to even move forward. So I'm saying that to say we are here, Kristen is here, Keith is here, I'm here, Liz doesn't have a vote on this one, but Liz is here, the borough president's office is here, the Congress member's office is here. We are going to continue to listen, to work together to make sure this is a process that we can all accept. And if we vote no collectively, then this will not move forward at all. If we decide collectively, if we as a community want this project to go forward, because we like some of the things that are being proposed, I'm not saying we do. To be honest, I'm as skeptical about this project as a lot of other people are. That is our collective responsibility, and I will continue to serve this community and listen to the people who live here. Thank you.
We can invite Councilmember Keith Powers up as well. And I just want to highlight, let's give him a round of applause.
Good evening. Hi, everyone. Nice to see you. Happy New Year. First of all, as many people have noted, we are way ahead of the actual process that's going to take place here. So I want to give a big thanks to Senator Gonzalez and her team for organizing the forum. We just give them a big round of applause. obviously, we're all hearing and getting emails, and there's a lot of talk around here. So it's nice to be in an organized place to talk about feelings and comments and concerns. And I want to thank the community organizations who are here as well, Stuytown and Peter Cooper Village Tenants Association, Community Board 6, Manhattan East Community Association, and many other folks in the neighborhood who decided to be part of this forum tonight. And as this process notes, we have a long process ahead of us, including more public hearings and a process of the Community Advisory Council, where all of us are going to have an opportunity to appoint somebody that's going to go and make a judgment decision on this. We will be, I think, also hearing from representatives actually on the proposal here today as well. So this will be a really great opportunity to see the proposal and to offer feedback on it. I think for many of us, we remember the original acquisition of this property dating back, I think, to 2005. So it's been a long conversation here in this community. I get questions all the time about what's happening here. And I also think we all recognize that a casino anywhere is going to have a tremendous impact on the community that surrounds it. So we really think it's crucial that the voices of the community are part of that process, and those who live nearby and would be most impacted are primarily heard as part of this process tonight and in the public hearings and processes ahead. I want to emphasize, I think once that community, I think we didn't say this part, but once that community advisory process starts, I think it's 180 days. So we have a lot of time to meet with folks, to talk to folks, to have the public hearings, and to continue to do this kind of community dialogue we're doing. And eventually, as you guys know, they will have to be voted on by the Community Advisory Council and still go to the Gaming Commission. There's numerous proposals out there right now, and only a few that actually will make it through this process. So I want to thank everybody for spending their evening with us. And I want to be really clear, your voice in this process as we get in tonight into the community advisory process is going to be essential to making the decision about what happens here in our community. And as many of you know, I live just a few blocks away. I walk to my office a few blocks away. So certainly I have a very personal stake in what happens in our community as well. So thank you to Senator Gonzalez, thank you to my electeds and everyone from the community for being here tonight. And I look forward to continuing to have this conversation with you guys. Thank you.
Great. Also want to thank Councilmember Carlina Rivera, who is also a co-sponsor of this event, and then really echo what Councilmember Powers said, which is a reminder that, you know, we have had many community members, organizations stake out their position in the last year, but this is really one event of many that will happen this year to really make sure that we're doing proper community engagement and hearing from all of you before myself, him, the borough president, the mayor, the governor, we all have our CAC votes. So with that, I just want to see if the rep from Borough President Mark Levine wants to come on up. All right, thank you with that.
Thank you to the Senator's office for getting us all together here. All said, between online and in person, we're looking at hundreds of attendees. And so thank you all for making the time to come tonight. A lot of what I was planning to say, no surprise, has already been echoed here tonight. So I'll just add this proposal that we are going to be hearing more about tonight is one of 5 that our office is aware of in the borough of Manhattan. So, you know, we are very aware of the magnitude of each of these proposals. We are thinking about the impacts on local businesses, on traffic, pedestrian flows. And we're also thinking about some of the benefits, right? We're thinking about housing, we're thinking about jobs, public amenities. These are just some of the things that we expect will be discussed in the CAC process. And as many have mentioned tonight, that will be a long process ahead of us. So we look forward to having many conversations with the folks in this community and other communities throughout the borough as we really try to determine you know, how we can make something work in the borough of Manhattan. So thank you.
I just want to remind folks that, you know, we're hearing from the Gaming Commission, we're hearing from our elected officials, we're about to hear from our congressman, but as we're going through this presentation and the following Soloviev presentation, we are going to be collecting question cards. So if you have one, just like feel free to make a motion and we'll start walking up and down the aisles to start collecting them. But okay, I see a few over here, so like our team will stop by. But with that, let's give Robert from Congressman Nadler's office a round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Senator Gonzalez, and I'm here on behalf of Congressman Nadler. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here. Congress is still in session until tomorrow. He doesn't have a formal role in the process. He's not one of the elected officials who appoints members to the Community Advisory Group. But as your local member of Congress, Congress member, he will use his bully pulpit to advocate on behalf of his constituents. And he knows, as the other elected officials have said here tonight, this is an issue that people are very passionate about, and there is some controversy to it. Manhattan, in his congressional district, which goes from 14th Street all the way up to 96th Street on the east side and 104th on the west side, there are 5 proposals for casinos in that district. We know from this legislation that Manhattan is going to get one of them. And we know that because this is where the money is. So the reality is Manhattan will probably have a casino. Our job here is to figure out where is the best location. This may not be. Where I am here tonight to, on his behalf, I'm his chief of staff, to listen to the community, to hear from you, to hear your concerns. And that's what I'm here to do. So I very much appreciate being invited. Thank you, Senator. This is one of the first forums on this issue anywhere I know in Manhattan. So I'm sure it's going to be one of many, but we want to hear, obviously there are people have a lot of concerns about it. Some are, this is very much near major residential, whether it's Peter Cooper Village or Stuyvesant Town, and that is a concern. And how will it impact quality of life? How will it impact children? We certainly welcome the money that it brings, but it also brings, well, I didn't say that. It may be blood money, but the money is coming. Well, we want money. I hear you. Again, I am not, the reality of the matter is it's been approved by the legislature. We are getting casinos in New York. Okay. Well, I wish we weren't getting casinos in New York. Casinos they prey on the most vulnerable. People spend their paychecks. It's not what we should be doing. But we have to deal with reality. And the reality, I hear you. So that's why we are here tonight. That's why we are here tonight, to hear from you and say where the best location would be. So you should say that. I hear you. I hear you. So I hear you. Thank you very much. We want to hear from you. We're certainly hearing from your concerns that you're saying this location is not. Please speak up. Thank you. Thank you.
No, we definitely, again, we have the open comment period, but to Robert's point, we've heard a lot of these concerns about traffic impacting our community. A lot of you have been reaching out, so we want to make sure we capture that in the second half. Really, this first half is so that you hear from every stakeholder that's going to be at the table, and you have all the information. For folks who are new to the process, haven't really heard a lot about the casino, I think this has all been helpful. So I really want to thank again all the elected officials who are here tonight, who are really here to listen and are making the time to ensure that they're informed by everyone who is joining here online, and then of course throughout this process. So let's give them one more round of applause before we switch gears. So like I mentioned, we heard from the Gaming Commission, we heard from our electeds. Now we're going to hear from a few key community partners who have been engaging their constituencies or more local constituencies around this issue. So I want to invite up the president of the Stuytown Tenants Association, Susan Steinberg, who's been organizing a lot around this issue. So thank you, Susan. Thank you.
Robert, you're a hard act to follow. I sure hope I don't say anything as controversial. Anyway, I'm Susan Steinberg, president of the Stuyvesant Town Peter Cooper Village Tenants Association. The development plans are extremely ambitious for this site. 7.5 acres will be a casino, parking garage of 1,500 cars, hotel, museum, residential towers, and green spaces. And while I'm sure there's some out there who might really appreciate seeing this eyesore hole in the ground put to use, you really have to consider what the impacts of this project are going to be on our public safety, transportation, congestion, sanitation, and noise. So I'm sure most of you are aware that we're on the cusp of another mega project. The Science Park and Research Center, 1.5 million square feet, First Avenue and 25th Street. And it's going to involve challenges and a lot of construction disruption for years. So the question you have to ask yourself is whether in truth, another mega project is really good for our community. So I hope those in my community who are here or virtually, and all of you, are listening very carefully to our electeds, to the process, and that you will pay very close attention to the developers when they describe the plans. But remember, you and me and all of us are the ones who are going to be impacted for years to come from this project. And it's up to the developers, and I throw the gauntlet to them. You have to convince us that this project is going to be a benefit to the community. Otherwise, no thank you.
Again, appreciate all of the involvement. We're going to turn it to the Manhattan East Community Association. Another pitch I want to make in having our community partners here is we talked about a strong democracy. We talked about being all involved, envisioning for our community and determining what's best. I think a good way is by joining our local tenants associations, knowing what community organizations are in the neighborhood. A lot of you already do. For those who may be joining here or online who don't, also would encourage you to join the local groups that are presenting today. So with that, thank you, Mecca. Let's give them a warm welcome.
Thank you. Can I hear please? Welcome, everyone. My name is Michael Ann Rowe. I proudly serve as the Vice President of the Manhattan East Community Association. I'm also an officer with the St. Barton Park Conservancy. Very proud to be. I've lived in Murray Hill since 1993. I'm an implant from Canada. Okay, so it is no surprise that I care about the environment in which we live. Mecca. Mecca is a nonprofit that brings the community together to find a common ground on local issues that matter to our neighborhood. Mecca amplifies the voices in all the community, evident by our new logo. The big C is for community and giving the community a big voice. So thank you, Senator Gonzalez, for recognizing Mecca's role. One Mecca focus is nature and what thrives in nature. Greening, which equates to quality of life. There I am with my hat on, not looking like this. Take the Adopt a Tree program, which I revitalized in 2023 and is now part of Mecca. The program has paid for the addition of many new trees in Murray Hill and Kips Bay. I can proudly say that. And it's because of nature that we've been talking to the Soloviev family. Last year, when a number of Canadian geese and mallard ducks were spotted nesting on the Soloviev site, we arranged meetings with Soloviev and our concerned community. This is a photo during our first meeting with the Wild Bird Fund and Humane Long Island about protecting the birds on the grounds. Soloviev agreed to pause construction on the art exhibit that recently opened. Together with a concerned community member who lives near the grounds and who became our liaison with wildlife groups, we came up with a schedule to care for the birds for 8 weeks until the birds flocked away. So now it is my pleasure to introduce you to one of those people who helped manage the project. Kevin O'Keefe is the president of both Mecca and St. Barton Park Conservancy. He is also a trustee with the Murray Hill Neighborhood Association and has been a member of Manhattan Community Board 6 since 2019.
Thank you. Thank you, Michael Ann. many people here in this community is a better place because of your great work. Dozens and dozens of trees have gone up because of Michael Ann's fundraising. It's great to see so many community members here tonight. This is a community my family and I know and love. My 3 children, who are now teenagers, were born at NYU Langone, and my wife and I raised them in Murray Hill before we moved 4 blocks from here. With Mecca's commitment to expanding green space, we're eager to see ample public open space on the undeveloped private land where the casino would reside. As we work hard for this goal, we continue to have an open mind about the use of the space. Mecca has heard from many people in favor of the casino, against the casino, and undecided about the casino. Tonight, I am speaking on behalf of myself and Mecca. Continuing to be open-minded through changes has proven helpful. Mecca is among those who conclude that the community board's vote from early March of last year was too early in the process. Communication had not even begun with the developer. For example, the resolution references the need for affordable housing. Since then, 513 units of affordable housing have been added to the property plan. Mecca is among those pushing for many more units. 1,500 would be nice. Mecca is still observing and listening. Mecca, St. Martin Park Conservancy, and Murray Hill Neighborhood Association are among more than a dozen community groups that have been in conversations with Soloviev and its gaming partner Mohegan to share community feedback. Because of those conversations, we've seen changes. Mecca has strongly advocated for some of them with Soloviev and Mohegan. In fact, in one meeting, a community reinvestment fund was proposed by one of my colleagues. Significantly, an independent community group would run it. Because of that conversation, the fund is now part of the Soloviev plan. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, running tonight over behind time, so thank you all for being quick. All right, so you heard about the community board. I think it's important for those who, again, not assuming everyone knows what a board is, a community board is the most local form of government and really is representative of everyday New Yorkers like you and I. And so we thought it was important for the board to also come and present on the resolution you just heard about. So I want to invite them up to talk about it and then also to talk about some recent developments that we've had. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to our new board chair. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Sandy McKee. I'm 11 days into my role as community board chair. And I am also Canadian, just we're everywhere. The community board speaks through our resolutions, and we actually have 2 resolutions regarding this property. The first is from January of 2023. The resolution urged that the development of the property be based on the community's goals from our 197A plan. Specific concepts that were outlined in that plan included developing the site to respect the residential character of our neighborhood, using floor area ratios that are consistent with the existing building heights and densities in our community, and following the existing zoning guidelines. We also specifically asked that any project go through the uniform land review process, which also allows for community participation and feedback during the project development. The resolution also noted that the previous State Environmental Quality Review Act, which actually examines the environmental and economic impacts of a project, was completed in 2008 and was out of date and would no longer be relevant. Our second resolution, which you see on the screen, is from March of 2023. This resolution expanded on the previous resolution to note that the site is a prime location for affordable housing. Affordable housing is the most pressing need for our community, as stated in our district needs statement. At this point, constituents had reached out to the board, stating their concern for locating a casino in our district. Those concerns included traffic congestion, transportation issues, and the proximity to residential amenity, among many others. The resolution documents these issues and states the opposition to any casino being located within the boundaries of community board 6. The Soloviev Group will be coming before the board's Land Use and Waterfront Committee on February 26th to present the present in its current proposal form. Everyone is welcome to attend. We look forward to hearing your comments and concerns. Community board applications are now open until February 23rd on the Borough President's website. We encourage everyone who is enthusiastic and passionate about our community to sign up. Thank you.
So with that, we have our final presentation. Again, hearing from electeds, community members. We also want to make sure that Soloviev has a chance to talk through the points of their proposal, make sure we're all working off of the latest information and the most accurate information about it. So I'm going to turn it over to them for their presentation, but you're also welcome to have folks if you're co-presenting on stage. I don't know how you guys are handling. You guys are, if you want to give, and yeah, if you want to have the project team up, you can have the, it's up to you guys, yeah.
All right. Thank you. Good evening to everyone. Thank you for having us tonight and for giving us the opportunity to discuss the project and the proposal. I know I'm limited to 10 minutes and that's pretty strict, so I'll keep it brief. My name is Yanni. I'm on the Freedom Plaza Project team, and we're going to be presenting a brief presentation of some slides. We'll do our best in summarizing the project, community benefits and next steps. But please realize project of this size can't really be constrained to slides like this, so we're not going to be able to get to everything. We want to continue these meetings. We have upcoming community meetings that we're going to be presenting at and having our entire project team at, so we'll keep everyone apprised of those. My team has been working with Soloviev Group for over a decade at this point, with Mohegan for the better half of the last year. So both are family businesses. They're committed to community giving and engagement. They're committed to investment and meaningful social action. Soloviev's flagship properties in the neighborhood are, Soloviev's flagship properties, 9 West 57th Street and 685 First Avenue, which is directly across from the site, are well known in the neighborhood. There's actually 7 members of the family that live in the direct neighborhood in the immediate area. And Mohegan is well known for operating 9 premier resorts in the US, Canada, and most recently, Korea. So the Mohegan Tribe of Connecticut and their flagship resort of Mohegan Sun have been an integral part of the Northeast for many generations, and they're driven by respect for the earth. Slide. So the Freedom Plaza proposal is a dynamic vision. It represents a $10 billion investment. Open space, there's 4.77 acres that have been dedicated for open space. It includes housing. We have 1325 units, new homes that are being proposed, 513 of which, or 38%, happen to be affordable housing. We have a Museum of Freedom and Democracy as a component of this project. We also have world-class dining, hotel, gaming, and entertainment. There's architecture involved, a distinctive architecture. The project is designed by Bjarke Ingels Group. And additionally, we have a community food market, retail, and daycare as a component of this project. There's significant local and regional economic development that you heard of earlier in this night. Thousands of well-paying union jobs as a component of the project. And there is also local philanthropic support that I think Kevin went over it earlier. So as I mentioned, the housing consists of 1325 total units. The project has 513 of which, or 38%, that are dedicated to affordable housing. It's an important investment in housing given that 0 MIH units have been built in Community Board 6 since MIH, mandatory inclusionary housing, was established as a program in New York City. That was in the context of numerous different incentives being afforded to housing. Right now, in the absence of those incentives, the gaming facility is the economic generator making this housing possible. Next slide. Workforce and economic development is also a pretty important component of this project. The project operation will result in thousands of union jobs during its actual development in operation, and also in thousands of union jobs during the construction. Hundreds of millions in city and state revenue will be realized. We also have dozens of letters of intent with job training organizations, workforce development programs, and Mohegan's existing relationship with many suppliers in the New York City area provides a pretty significant base and a great foundation from which we can source local, women-owned, and minority-owned businesses. Next slide. As mentioned, the community fund is something that has resulted as some of the 30+ different meetings we've had with community organizations. We've met with Parks Conservancies, we've met with tenant associations, and it's just the start. We want to meet with anyone and everyone that will meet with us about this project and make sure that your feedback is incorporated and that this is reflective of what the community needs. So the Community Investment Fund is a commitment of 2% of net profits annually to the community at a minimum of $5 million to be used as the community wishes. And as was mentioned, dictated by a nonprofit that is not controlled by Soloviev or Mohegan. Next slide. In addition to the community fund, we've had a lot of feedback from community organizations on what they'd like to see in terms of the programming of the open space. With 4.77 acres of open space, the least amount of tree cover in the city in Community Board 6, limited but very beautiful public space, we wanted to make sure that the park, the open space, was really a focal point of this development. So there's mixed programming, there's kids' play areas, nature areas, lawns. We currently have tonight Cody Klein from OJB, who's going to be able to answer any questions. OJB is our landscape architect. But in this slide, we see a lawn view. In this next slide, we see a view from First Avenue. I will note that there are no curb cuts on First Avenue, which is a big differentiator from some previous plans that were discussed. 100% of the park will be ADA accessible. And we wanted to make sure that the park component of this project was the closest component to the community. Here's a rendering of the multi-use space that I discussed earlier. As you can see, there's lawn, kids' play areas, game courts. It's really a multi-use space and reflects the feedback that we've gotten to date, but does not reflect the feedback that we expect to get tonight. We welcome any and all feedback that we can get on programming this space. In addition, retail, neighborhood, food market, and daycare are components of this project. As I mentioned, this project is not limited to gaming or the housing. There's many different components of it. Getting to the gaming and entertainment, the economic engine of this project is the gaming facility. The facility is actually below grade. When in all of these renderings, you can't really see it. It's we're going about 5 levels below grade. The casino will be underground and accessible from the FDR Drive. It's a distinct and separate component of the project and separate from the surrounding community, we believe, with its entrance off of the FDR. Banyan Tree, a luxury brand, will be operating the hotel, and as will Mohegan. In this next slide, you see the entry that I just described. We've got the entry for the gaming facility on the FDR. We have the elevated park above the gaming facility. And then we also have the hotel entrances. In these last slides, we have renderings, a zoomed out shot of the entire project. You can see the Museum of Freedom and Democracy, which we weren't able to get into this presentation. I know I got 1 minute left, but we can discuss that further. There's a further zoomed out shot of the project proposal. And I wanted to end on this slide, which has the best overview of the project. We appreciate the ability to present tonight. And we know that we're going to have a lot of feedback Unfortunately, we stuck the email for you to email us that feedback at the bottom of this presentation. And I know the chairs are in front. The email is projectteam@freedomplaza.nyc. We want to get as much community feedback as possible, as many comments. We really view the community portion and the community feedback of this site as an important component of this licensing process. So we do ask you to email us with as many questions as you have. We'll try to get to them. Like I said, yeah, so it's projectteam@freedomplaza.nyc. And just before we begin Q&A, I just want to introduce the members of the project team that can be available to answer questions. So we've got Michael Hershman, CEO of Soloviev. We have Nelson Parker. We have Nelson Parker, Senior Vice President at Mohegan. Andreas Butner, who is with BIG. We also have Cody Klein from OJB, our landscape architects. We'd like to answer any and all, and we also have Robert Huberman from our land use attorney. We'd like to answer any and all questions that you have and look forward to the feedback. I know a lot of you have already filled out your cards and submitted questions before my presentation even began. So please, like I said, please email us as much as you can about all of your feedback. We really want to hear it.
So with that, we're going to turn into our Q&A. Thank you all so much for being patient. Look, we got all the information out, and we have a lot of good questions to get through. I just want to invite Jerry back up on the stage and any of the electeds who might want to go up to also answer some questions on behalf of, our city and state governments. Jerry, if you're free, feel free to walk up. And the way that this is going to work, I just want to, again, if you have a question that hasn't been collected, go ahead and raise that card, make sure that we get it. And responses from the folks on stage are going to be kept at about a minute, just be mindful of time. But appreciate, them joining tonight to answer some of our community questions. So with that, let's jump into it. All right, first question. Why, this is for the Soloviev group, why was this lot unused for all these years? This is the first part.
Michael,
would you repeat the question? So if you guys can talk about, here's a mic.
Thanks.
Can you guys talk about why the site has gone unused for all these years?
A very good question.
Yeah.
So, after we purchased this site, of course, it had to be clear, it was the old Con Ed facility. That took some years to do, and then remediate the site as well. Part of the site was sold during this time. And indeed, we had built on the site, some people don't understand that the site included 685 First Avenue. That's the building, the first building that was built on the site, which was completed in 2021. We have current zoning to put 4 high-rise buildings on the site right now. But we've decided to redo the plan with the advent of the licensing procedure. And let me just say, I know I'm not going to convince all of you that this is a good plan. I realize that. I do realize that. But I hope at least we can have a civil conversation about it, whether we agree or disagree. Thank you.
Okay, great. So we have a lot of questions about the housing portion of this development. So folks want to know more about what affordable housing means in this situation. So what is affordable housing being proposed? What is, again, what like affordable, what is that like? Are there specific levels that you're adhering to? They also want to know why the housing is connected to the casino, if you're thinking of building housing either way. And then finally, here we have, is there any scenario in which some or all of the development will be used for low-income housing to address the migrant crisis? So I gave you 3 housing questions. Low-income housing, what does affordable mean? Is housing connected to the casino? And then will you have low-income housing for specific communities? Yeah.
That's great. Thank you for those questions. So affordable housing in the city of New York can be done in several different ways. we are looking to do is be MIH conforming and for inclusionary housing. There's several options under MIH. There's, and we're pursuing option 2. Option 2 is an average of 80% average median income. And that gives you a lot of flexibility to play with the income bands and qualifying income levels and rent levels. So option 2 can allow for us to go further down to 40% AMI, 60% AMI, whatever it is, as long as all of it averages out to 80%. So that said, we're in conversations with all of our elected officials. We intend to reflect their preferences in those income bands. We haven't worked them out yet. We do have a affordable housing consultant that is helping us consult. Sorry, we got 2 more parts. I get 3 times the amount of time. So we are working to make sure that this project is definitely reflective of also the salaries at the facility itself. We want to make sure that this is a way to work community, and that's what's definitely coming into our thinking. So, sorry, the second question was in regard to oh, yes.
So I guess one thing, yeah, why is the housing tied to the casino?
So there's several different ways to develop affordable housing in New York City. Again, you have different types of incentives. You have HPP financing, housing preservation and development financing. The casino is the economic engine for the affordable housing in this one. Without the casino, we would not be developing the affordable housing, just as a result of number one, not being mandated to do so on this project site, given that we have a pre-existing approval. And then additionally, the truth is that there is no 421A tax abatement or any other tax incentive abatements currently that would finance that type of development. That's proved by the fact that there have been no MIH units built in community 6 since the MIH program started. So, you know, that's the gaming component is the economic generator for the housing. It makes the housing possible. As far as any sort of specific groups being included in section offered housing, we are looking at senior housing to be part of this project. We do recognize that there's a lack of senior housing in this district. So that is something that we're looking at. And I think on the migrants, I don't know, but I'll just leave it at that.
Okay. All right, great. So we're getting a lot of the same questions. So again, I just want to emphasize, we're getting a lot around New York City having a housing crisis. So why not use the land for affordable housing only? And then I had some additional questions around quality of life. So how will public transit be adapted to meet the need for the hundreds of good paying union jobs that will serve this development? That was in quotes. There's a severe dearth of transit on the east side of Midtown. Will phase 3 of the 2nd Avenue subway be a guarantee of the development of the site? So transit, east side. Yeah.
So I can't comment about TA and guarantee anything with the TA.
Yeah.
What I will say is that we are trying to maximize the amount of public transit that is utilized along the site. Mohegan has projected out that over 25% of the customers coming on site will be utilizing personal vehicles. Like I mentioned, we have this off the FDR, and we anticipate that that's going to sort of impact when it comes to traffic and personal vehicles. However, we are looking to expand access to public transit. Ferries is another component that we're looking at, and we're looking at any way to ensure that public transit is utilized and serves the demand.
Okay, great. We are getting a lot of cards around that. That is a good segue. So we're getting a lot of cards asking specifically around how public safety will be ensured around the site.
Okay, so public safety, I'm actually going to hand this over to Hershman and Nelson, who both have experience.
Nelson, we already had a chance to speak yet.
Oh, thank you. Go right ahead. Thank you so much, Mike. Public safety is a huge thing, for us in the gaming business. There's really 3 primary criteria to make sure that we're delivering the best experience for our guests. It's safety, cleanliness, and convenience. If you don't get those three things right, it's gonna be a failure. So it's critically important for us to make sure we have a safe environment for our guests. We work very closely with local law enforcement, both at MIPD and on the state level. We work closely with the Gaming Commission. We have our own in-house security force. Here we're projecting around 300 security and surveillance team members, thousands of cameras on site. This will be one of the safest blocks, probably in New York City, I should say. Off-site, again, we'll be collaborating very closely with local law enforcement and ensuring that this is a safe environment. This is intended to be a very high-end resort. The very last thing we want to do as investors and operators is have a bad experience for our guests. It's simply not going to come back. So it's in our best interest to make sure this is a really great experience, a great situation for everybody. We understand what it's like being within the local community, and we want to be, a piece of that family.
Okay, thank you for that answer. Some additional questions around public safety include how will this affect public safety in the UN with the UN specifically? So do you need to spend additional money to ensure that the UN is protected? And if one person asked, does the UN have any say in this? And is that safety?
That's a great question. Many people don't know this, but for years now, during UN week, and look, we all recognize the entire city comes to a standstill during the UN week, no matter where you are in the city. But our site is used by the Secret Service, by the military, and by local law enforcement during UN week to provide their command and control center. We donate our site, we coordinate very closely with them to ensure that UN week is safe and secure. And we will continue to do that after we construct this facility. As Nelson said, there's nothing as important to us as the safety and security, not only of our visitors, but as the residents. I think you mentioned the fact that 7 of our relatives live in this district, and it's important to them and their children, the youngest of which is now 2 months old, to help have a safe, secure, and clean environment.
Great, and we're getting a lot of questions around how will you address any increase in mental health crises? So that includes people who are dealing with addiction and also people who might have mental health crises around the area. There are concerns, of course, public safety related around, just like more influx of new people in the community. And then the second part to that, because it's in the same card, what is the parking plan with the UN? So first one, and it's.
Parking plan with the UN. So on site, I think as Sandra mentioned, we're planning to have 1,517 parking spaces on site. They're below grade, so they'll sit many levels below the casino levels. Those will be accessible along the FDR as well as another drop off at the hotel on 41st. Those will be valid. We believe that will be sufficient for our guests on site year round. There's also a lot of other parking garages in the area. We studied within a half mile or so. There's roughly 9,000 spaces in 70 garages. They're all full during certain days and certain hours. But I think what people need to understand is that our peak hours do not overlap with commuters or office. So there are plenty of parking spaces in the area, we believe. We also believe we can sustain those on site as well. Related to mental health, again, I think this is a huge, issue for us in that we're focused very much so as an organization, as an industry, on anything related to mental health and problem gambling in particular. We have extensive training through our organization. There's many good resources. People can learn a lot about this. It affects somewhere around 1 to 3% of the adult population. It's a terrible thing. We don't want this at all. We want to make sure that people can get help. Incredible amount of training. We advertise all over the place, within the facilities, within our advertisements as well. We have 800 numbers that people can contact. With this particular facility, we're actually trying to go above and beyond. We've actually partnered with the New York Council of Problem Gambling, which is a gold star organization here in the state. We're not required to do this, but we're planning to have a physical presence within the casino itself. So if people are having an issue, they can go get help. We're going to staff that, we're going to pay for it, we're going to design it. That's not required, but it's something we feel is important to do. And as I mentioned, we have all of our staff members are trained so that they can identify any kind of problematic behavior. We can get people help. It's something, again, we do day in and day out.
Okay, and I just wanna, remind folks, so we're getting a lot of duplicative questions, so we're trying to kind of summarize with the different piles, but also our office is consolidating all these questions. We won't get to answer every single person's question today, and we're gonna open it up for comment right after this. But we will take this back, start getting answers we don't have, and then follow up in an email with everyone so that if there is information that we didn't get to cover today, you all have it. I also want to say for folks who are online, they're having some trouble hearing. So if you guys just like talking to the mic, that would be great. And then with that, we also are getting some questions. I'm going to shift back into questions around the community board resolution. Why is it not binding? What is the community board's position on the recent proposal by Eric Adams on the Euler process? So I can actually, I don't know if our CB, I'm happy to answer some of those for you, but if you want to come up and talk about, you're welcome to. Yeah. So
Just last evening, the board passed a resolution against the text amendment that would mean that the community board would not be part of the ULIP process. And the full borough will be voting on it next Thursday at the borough board. But we've had discussions with other community boards who also seem to be in alignment with our position. The community board is advisory. We advise. We actually do not have, our resolutions cannot be binding, I guess. So it's our advice to our elected officials.
Thank you. Right, which is, I heard we better listen. I think that's the point of tonight, right? We need, because it's not binding and because we have so many folks who have opinions, we want to make sure that myself, the other electeds, everyone in the room is able, to hear what these concerns are. So definitely happy to listen. We're also getting some questions around just the expected, like, do you have specific numbers and statistics around how many folks will be coming to the casino on weekdays and weekends? And then a second set of questions around the community fund. So what is this community fund? How is it going to be used? And then is it like a commitment that's binding? Yeah.
It is binding commitment, and in fact, we're going to ask the community leaders to form a new 501c nonprofit organization. The board of directors will be made up of the community leaders from all the different organizations. We will have no strings attached to any of the donations. As we said earlier, the donations will be a minimum of $5 billion a year. We expect, given our commitment to 2% of net profits, for that to be substantially higher. It can be used, excuse me, sir. It can be used, I apologize. I am partially deaf. I'm a disabled veteran, and I can't hear what you're yelling. But it's partially, it's going to be used for educational, for sports facilities, for youth, for disadvantaged youth, whatever the community needs, it's going to be their decision. I'll turn it over from a visitation standpoint to Delta.
Yeah. So from a visitation perspective, that's a tough one to answer because of the way the RFA is set up. Because as was explained earlier, there's a lot of different applicants out there, and depending upon where the 3 licenses will be awarded will impact significantly what kind of visitation you can expect. I can tell you from a gaming perspective, as I was trying to say earlier, our business doesn't overlap with your typical commuter week. Our peak hours are typically in the evenings on a weekend. People don't descend on our casinos at 8 o'clock in the morning or 9 o'clock in the morning and leave 5 or 6. That's just not the way it works. We're 24/7 business. So typically the visitation happens when you say traffic is lightest traffic. I know never light in New York City, but it does not overlap with your typical rush hour traffic.
Let me just answer that we, as you know, we have an art exhibit on the property right now called Field of Lights. In a short period, we've had 10,000 visitors. We have another 40,000 coming. Some of them have come by car, some of them at Grand Central Station, some of them by other means of transportation. The security has been running perfectly, and there's been no increase in the traffic in and around the site.
Next question, casinos are not really well known for paying their employees well. How can we ensure that the affordable housing will not only go to their employees? And how will we ensure that they are employing their employee or paying their employees well? Sorry, hard to read handwriting, but got it. Yeah.
So we are very proud to say that we have an MOU in place with the building trades for the construction. We have an MOU in place, a project labor agreement in place with Hotel Trades Council, which applies to all the gaming facility, hotel, everything. And we are actively in discussions with 32 EJ and other workers. And this project is going to be 100% union labor.
Okay, and then what kind of engineering will be required to keep flood water out?
So
The area.
that's a toughie. Unfortunately, we're limited in how many people we could bring tonight. And our engineer that is doing environmental was someone that unfortunately we would not be able to bring. So she's not here, but we can definitely ask her and get back to you. We're working with engineering and we can answer that question on
Okay. We're getting more questions around environmental impact, and questions around just quality of life during construction. So whether we're getting both questions about constructing the casino, but if you are doing any other development around housing, how will it affect air quality for the people, construction noise, things like that? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I'll let Andres from Bid take this. Get back to and say that we're limited to 5 people. Our mental consultant is not here. Andres is going to do his best to make sure this team. But something that the senator recommended during her meeting with us in November was that we establish a construction task force, and that's something that we intend to do as part of this project. So I'll let Andres take the rest of the question.
Yeah, I'm not a construction guy, but I have level of insight. So there will be a process where the construction needs to be managed in a sustainable way and the impact on the community limited, be it like using the right equipment and also operations. For instance, there will be no blasting, which is not allowed to be anyways, since we're going 5 stories down. So there will be as part of the EIS, there will be also this study and a way of mitigating the construction.
But we are committed to 100% sustainability. The entire process will be carbon neutral.
And the next set of questions are actually for Jerry. I know it's a far.
I was hoping, Jerry.
Yeah, sorry. But the questions are around we're not Manhattan. So a few. One, what are the other proposed sites? I can actually speak to that if you want me in Manhattan.
When they're beside of the 5 proposals in Manhattan. This one, Saks Fifth Avenue they plan to build it on the top floors, 1515 Broadway, and 2 on the Hudson Yards area. Those are
I think we have a clear preference. Yeah.
Some of the proposals are the Bronx, which was up until today with the Trump golf course and is now with Valley. Bronx, next to Bronx. Go Bronx. And proposal at City Field. One in Coney Island. One in Nassau Coliseum.
Yeah.
And then there are 2 what we call racinos, which are racetracks that have video lottery terminals, which are really slot machines, but and they exist already. One is Aqueduct racetrack and the other at Yonkers Raceway.
Good, take it there. Okay. And the next thing is, does Manhattan have to be one of the casinos?
Not legally, no.
And then some questions to clarify Robert's comments. I think what Robert was speaking to earlier is the fact that Manhattan, it has been mentioned in the press, is likely while there are 4 different proposals, I think 4 or It is likely to get one of them because they do, it seems like one upstate, one in Ann Arbor, and in Manhattan is likely, from what we've heard. So that's what that was what Robert was speaking
Gaming
to.
Commission itself is. We've got no mandate from the
Mhm.
governor or the legislature, for any of the sites.
Yeah.
To my knowledge, if you see the facilities location board, nobody's given them any instructions on where. But yet, it's supposed to be making the decision based on the criteria we showed in the PowerPoint, which has to do with the most, money for the government, and economic development and issues like that. And as I said, the Community Advisory Committee, has the power to veto any location. And, there were assembly members, council members, and senators
Mhm.
representing all the locations, except the Nassau County and Westchester, their county legislators instead.
Great.
Clarify the 3 spots for how many?
3, yes, so and very, yes, it looks like they'll be accepting 3 of however many proposals that they get.
Up
So
to 3, in
up to
theory, they could choose less than 3. I
Well,
would say
there's
it's
no
unlikely, but it's possible.
So it's been indicated 3, there's no mandate to have 3, but also we don't know, we're not at the point where any formal proposal has been submitted yet because the Gaming Commission is currently going through a Q&A period of their own. So they're about to release the answer to their questions. Once they release the answer to their questions, then that's the 180-day clock, but they'll be accepting formal applications. So there might be more, right, that come up throughout the state. Right now, we're talking about this one, but they'll look at all of the applications. It is likely they'll have 3. It has been, what Robert was talking about earlier is that it has been said that Manhattan is likely. That said, what Jerry is saying now is that there's no mandate to have in any specific area. So again, flexible in the Gaming Commission's part, but want to be clear that, you know, we haven't received any formal proposals as a state yet, which is why we haven't put together the CAC and gone through the other parts of the presentation that Jerry had in the beginning. So appreciate, you know, you all answering questions about what will be in your proposal or what you'll be in your formal application to the state. I guess last, we're getting a ton of repeat questions. Public, of course, we talked about a lot already. Public safety, impact on the people next door, housing. The last set I think worth asking is in the case, you know, are you starting any development early? So outside of the casino, are you starting to break ground? What would the timeline be for the casino at earliest, right? So it's the earliest opening date. And then the last set of questions around, as we're waiting on this casino process, are there other things that you might want to do on the site? So I think people mentioned the light show and some of their things, but what else is going on? And then we'll have that as the last set of questions because a lot of these are repeats, but we'll turn over to public comment. And for that, I want folks to start lining up as we answer this. You can start lining up on stage left and stage right, and we'll go into public comment. All right, great. Thank you.
The earliest.
The earliest.
It's actually much Jerry, but we'll do our best to.
Yeah.
Yeah, we intend on keeping the field of lights, exhibit on property for the next year. And as Gary said, I mean, look, realistically speaking, it's hard to believe that realistically speaking, it's hard to believe that license would be issued until sometime in 2025. Then you're looking at a construction process that could take more than 3 years. So this is not something that's going to happen overnight.
Okay. And then anything planned between now and then that you want to share with the community, whether it's a light shows otherwise. Yeah.
Yes, it's going to remain there for a year. We expect over the course of the year, over 700,000 visitors, both from New York and around the world. If you haven't been there, it's a free exhibit and it's exhilarating. It's a gift to the city of New York. I encourage you to go and visit.
Thank you all so much for answering all these questions.
Thank you.
We're going to shift into comment. Of course, thank you. Like I said, we have a lot of questions that we'll put together and send out with answers after this event. So as we shift to comment, I wanted to set some community guidelines. Let's be respectful. Let's keep it on topic. We're really focused on the casinos here. And let's also be mindful of time because we have a lot of folks in the room and a lot of people to get through. And a hard stop for NYU Dental at the end of the night. So thank you all so much. I'm gonna actually turn it over. We're gonna go my left, your right first, and then we're gonna alternate from here on out.
Thank you so much. My name is Sam Cutley. I've been in the real estate business for 50 years. My last gig was at risk management for TIAA Prep, $1 billion pension fund. In the real estate business, we had $35 billion worth of real estate. And I have a couple of quick comments. When I talk about public safety, what we're talking about is the fact that we have two major institutions on First Avenue, Bellevue and NYU. And in addition to into those facilities, there are three other NYU facilities. And in the evenings, the traffic on First Avenue is horrendous. The public safety issue is for people who need to get to the emergency rooms and to get treatment throughout the area. With this new casino, it will just negatively impact the area. I know it's saying it's not that much, but it's not that it won't create that much traffic, but the traffic value will just be terrible. So I just want to
Thank you. A couple of other quick announcements. I do want to remind folks, or let folks know, this part is also being recorded, so just so that you're aware. And then for folks who don't want to get up, we do still have the comment cards that we're collecting, so feel free to send those over to our staff. But yeah, let's keep going. Absolutely. So we're gonna go to this side next. Yeah, and feel free to introduce yourself too, where you live. Yeah. I don't think we can hear that mic. No. We'll use the floater.
My name is Maria Marinello. I've lived in the neighborhood for over 30 years. I overlooked the site that's being considered for a hotel and low income housing. I was there when the Con Ed plant was still there. I overlooked the site. I know the field of lights. If I see few people there, it's not being, not a lot of people have been going in because the area that area gets flooded from a rainstorm or there's a lot of wet ground there. I feel it's totally inappropriate to have a casino there. Not only is but the hospital has multiple buildings on East 38th Street between First and Second. The UN week is not just 1 week, it's 2 weeks that our neighborhood is shut down. And we have a large amount of bikers going to work on First and Second Avenues, which is also another security issue, all right? I don't think that the casino should be in a residential area. The grammar school is literally 3 blocks from there. We should not have a casino near the school, and I also feel that multiple buildings in that plan will be dangerous to the UN projects.
Thank you. Thanks. We're going to keep it to about 1 minute per comment, just so we get through as many people as possible. If you're unable to stand in line, also, we can come to you, just for folks who are not able to stand, the lines are getting long, just raise your hand and our team will come to you. I'm going to go to, sorry? And we have time cards at the front. So for the folks speaking, just direct or direct your eyes this way. So let's start on the left again.
Very brief points, I'm sure.
Just closer to the mic, yeah.
Quickly, New Orleans, Detroit, invited urban casinos and communities around.
Give him.
In 2009, state legislature in New York requested a report on gambling and found that there are predatory practices that typically go after young Hispanic and African predatory practices. The 2019 report that was requested by the legislature continues to be delayed. It'd be nice to know that now. But third, I think the most important point, there are two entities missing from this meeting, somebody from the governor's office and somebody from the mayor's office. The governor has a financial stake in the gaming industry, and given the past practices, I do not trust her vote for designating on this commission. And second, the looming indictment with Mayor Adams, I don't trust that either. He was rebuked by the state inspector general during his time in the state senate on the gaming committee for his shenanigans with gambling lobbyists. This is a statement.
Hi, I'm Charles Singer. I'm a board member, 225 of 36th Street. I'm listening at this meeting today. My question is, if this does not happen, there's still going to be some development on this land. I don't know if the group will be able to answer this, but I would like to know what the plan is going to be for this, should the casino not come to fruition. Because at some point, something is going to be there. I'd like to know what.
Yeah, those were the questions about what's planned, if, you know, as this process is happening. You can give, yeah, we'll maybe like a quick response, and there's a mic right up here. Yeah.
As I mentioned earlier, we have something right now, 4 towers. And our plan would be, if we don't get this license, proceed with building those 4 towers.
And then that gets into the affordable housing questions, which I think we covered what you were planning for affordability. But I do want to ask the crowd, this is the comment section, so if we can keep it to opinions on what you think should happen, not as many questions. But I will give you one more moment if you want to speak to the housing and the towers, because I think there were some eyes. What are the 4? Yeah.
Under the current zoning, it's a 1 commercial tower and a few residential towers. There is currently no affordable housing plan for the site under the current zoning.
Thank you for responding. All right, we'll go back to this side. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Ben Wetzler. I live in Stuyvesant Town. I work in affordable housing professionally, and I have to kind of say, I don't really buy the argument that the casino economic engine is necessary for that. We have kind of talked a little bit about some of the tax stuff, but really, you know, this was a Con Edison site back, you know, if you go back to the 60s and 70s, the way that those types of properties, when the city wanted to get rid of an industrial site, they would have cleaned it up themselves. They wouldn't rely on a private company to do that. And they would have made it middle income housing. And I know you can't obviously go back in time and change what has already happened, but I really do think that the city should be focusing, the city and the state should be focusing on something more along those lines and less on relying on plus.
Hi, my name is Susie Bear, from East Midtown Plaza, and live across the street. This sounds like it's a done deal. Like, I appreciate this event, but it all sounds like it's a done deal. We've said it's a done deal. Why are we even here? Which is heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. There should not be a casino in a residential area. What is it gonna do to the FDR? Come on, it's a nightmare to begin with, and how there's gonna be a special exit for a casino? And it's all gonna flood, I mean, come on. Anyway, yeah, I'm heartbroken.
Yeah.
I hope it's not a done.
Yeah. I just want to quickly clarify, this is very much not a done deal. And that's why we're here today, because when we hear from all of you and organize, we are going to be informed if we get to the point that we have a community advisory council. So again, this plan is dependent on a council where myself and 5 other electeds have someone to appoint to then vote. If they do not have 2/3 of that council, then it doesn't move forward. So this is not a done deal by any means. And this is really a moment to just hear and inform how you would like to see yourselves represented in that process. Yeah.
Can I just say, not to New York, it is not a done deal, not to New York.
It's also fine to have opinions on where it should be, but I just, yeah. Okay.
Just quick question,
Yeah.
what happens if none of the communities around any of the proposed casino sites agree to have it or want it? If nobody wants it, then what happens?
So again, it's the advisory, it comes down to the advisory council. I'm sorry, the question is just like, if no one wants it, what happens? So the truth is, I, as an elected, I know the other electeds who came here tonight really believe in being responsive to all of you, but I don't control how the governor's person votes or the mayor's person votes. And so I think, you know, that's why we're trying to make sure this feedback is delivered broadly. I also want to, I mean, Harvey also wants to, I guess, speak from the government side, but as the state legislature, we do have the power to represent that. But unfortunately, it comes down to an advisory council just technically through the process. But I can, Harvey, if you want to go for it.
I mean, just everyone should know it's up to 3 casinos downstate. So if all the community advisory boards across the city all vote no, then the state will have no proposals to look at. So if we vote no, if we don't get the 2/3 majority, then this proposal can't go forward with the casino. If Hudson Yards, the electeds over there vote no, that proposal can't go forward. There's no mandate that 3 happen, but it's gonna be up to 3. It is my expectation that some parts of the city and Westchester will want this. And so those projects could go forward. Whether this one goes forward or not is really gonna be up to all of us.
Yeah.
So I think having a casino
No, and you can
residential
come up if you
neighborhoods
wanna
would
take
change the character of the neighborhood a lot. Right now, you know, our neighborhood is a lot cleaner than the others, it's a lot safer than the others. We, know our neighbors, and having, a lot of tourists and a lot of foot traffic suddenly coming through is gonna make it no longer feel like our neighborhood. It's gonna feel much more personal, facial. And if we, wanted that type of environment, we would select a different neighborhood to live in. We're here because we like it.
Thank you for.
Is when you think about, rowdy bars, they can have their liquor license revoked if they have all sorts of problems. But if we have the casino or wherever it opens, whoever has it, if there's problems, the community is upset, they regret allowing the casino, there's no recourse. They can't just like revoke the casino's license and have, the whole casino sitting empty. It's Pandora's box. Once it's there, it's there. You can't take it back if you don't like it.
Thank you so much for your comment. And yes, we're just being mindful of time, but thank you so much. All right, yeah.
So, I heard earlier tonight that, the developer, would consider building affordable housing if tax break were offered. I would just strongly advise all the elected officials in the room to hear that out. I think most people would much prefer a tax break going to the developer versus the negative social consequences that can flow from a casino. And if it can't be done, if we can't get an agreement on that, I would prefer to just build market housing. 1,300 affordable housing units is really just not worth the price here. And the other purported benefits, yeah, right, 500, sorry, 1,300, yeah. And given the precarious state that New York's in right now, I just don't think we need this. And I do think anyone that supports this can get voted out of office.
Okay, well, for me already, seeing as I'm Canadian, and I really love trees, and I really love reading, and I really love hockey, and I really love ice skating. If the casino was not to happen and there was a choice, I would go for affordable housing and a great skating rink or a botanical garden on that space. And even in the interim, after the Field of Lights are finished, maybe we could think about a botanical garden there or an ice skating rink for the community.
Thank you for your comment. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Ariel. From the Neighborhood Association and a big fan of history. One of the things that I haven't heard brought up is, when if it ends up happening, they end up digging down the casino, and new historical society you brought in to help, any artifacts they might find, because Murray Hill has a very large and amazing history. And on the topic of history also, there's just something that makes me uncomfortable about like the United Nations, a symbol of unity amongst the world, being next door to a morally bankrupt casino.
Thank you so much.
Chair of the Parks Committee. I'm the chair of the Parks Committee with Community Board 6. I'm not here in that role. I'm just a resident of the district. So Senator Gonzalez, I wanted to let you know, as well as everyone in the community, on First Avenue and 39th Street, the sidewalk there is crumbling. But it's beyond that. Now there are holes that are opening wider and wider and wider, where you literally can go down. In fact, the slide, I'm not gonna ask you to put the slide, but the Mecca slide, actually, if you like, you can. No, I'm serious, can you? Second one. Please.
I will try, but you keep,
The reason why is that
we'll look back at the things, we're not going
The reason why
Yeah.
I would love to speak with someone in your office, you know, because the DOT needs to go out there as in tomorrow. I'm sorry, the DOT, because it just continues to grow, and then what has happened, I'm so sorry, what has happened on First Avenue is that it's covered. So it goes from this, to this, to this. And on First Avenue, we now have the buses that come up, and a large amount of people from the buses who are waiting with the luggage, it's going to collapse. Last thing, the Mecca on the second slide, you will see the columns that are actually holding up First Avenue. First Avenue is ready to go down. So I would like to speak.
yeah, absolutely. Please please reach out to our staff. We have a lot of folks here. We'll record the comment and look into it. But really appreciate you flagging that for us. But let's keep comments just as focused on the casino proposal as possible. Right. Okay. Hi.
I'm East 41st. I think I speak for many people in Jersey City. We have a very nice residential neighborhood. There is suffered through COVID, migrant crisis. We have more homeless now. I think a casino would be horrible for the entire neighborhood. Increase prosecution, alcohol use, traffic, crime, and it will really ruin the character of why I moved here.
Thank you so much for your comment. Go back to the side.
My name is Dean, and I live above this site. I just moved to this neighborhood. I moved out of a very congested, well-used neighborhood on the Lower East Side. I moved here because it was quieter and more residential. Three things. I do not believe, deep in my heart, that a casino should be in a residential neighborhood. I believe, though, that if the developers were serious, 2% of net back to the community could be zero. Always zero. Exactly. They would give the community 2% of the gross revenue. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comment. All right.
The broader point I was trying to highlight with that is that there really is no infrastructure to support people coming to a casino. Obviously, people in casinos are drinking. People were talking about parking, which I think is nonsensical, because why do we care about what casino users are doing afterwards? We don't want them taking their cars home afterwards. And I think the influx of Ubers that would be required would, severely impact the ability of ambulances to get up First Avenue. And more broadly, I mean, I've lived here my entire life. I was born on 24th Street. I've lived in this neighborhood for the past 25 years, and I do think it's a complete tragedy that the site has been unused for the majority of my life. But I think that when we think about how to develop the site, we need to be doing that with the community in mind and the impact that we're going to have on people who, are going to still be here after we develop it, hopefully.
Absolutely. And I appreciate the comment. I want to highlight that, those are concerns that our office has as well, impact on quality of life, traffic, all of these things. So, just appreciate that. And I know we spoke a little bit to it, and we can, if there are some things, we'll give you time to highlight at the end for Soloviev. But we want to hear from the community first.
My name is Mayor. My name is Monique, and I'm a resident in Jersey City, as well as an architect. I want to bring up a couple several points, that in my dissent on having a casino in the neighborhood. Number one, we have to consider the cultural context. We live in a very urban, in an urban city, therefore our density is quite high, and our sensitivity to the neighborhoods where we're deciding to develop also needs to be equally high. On the count of public safety, the United Nations is right next door. That in of itself is going to not only be about, but it will be a security threat, considering the amount of security that's actually used not only during the Ren Week, but on daily. We have NYPD counterterrorism station in our neighborhoods 24/7. So to introduce a facility or an industry that promotes crime is only going to be a deprecation to our neighborhood and to the quality of life of not just our residents, but the other residents that pass through this neighborhood, including international diplomats. Furthermore, New York City is a community of children and old people, both vulnerable groups. Introducing and it's really awesome to like myself. And introducing a facility such as a casino is very similar to having a drug dealer come into a grade school, right?
Are we?
Furthermore, law 97, which is what the city sustainability practices and goals for 2050 to reach net zero. A casino power usage rivals that of an airport, and they can barely meet local law 97's 2035 benchmarks. So that is also going to be a huge detriment to our desires to be a net zero city. Sure. And finally, it having been a Superfund site, which is a highly toxic ground, using a private entity to certify itself is problematic because one would consider the quality of the soil that they're using. Furthermore, the construction, because the soil is so unstable, as somebody has mentioned before, First Avenue is crumbling, it's constantly flooded. The amount of remediation of the riverfront will not only damage FDR.
I think I'm so sorry to cut you off, but I think we're at time, and we have time cards over here. There's more people waiting online, and we want to be fair. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yes, my name is Elaine Curpolato, and I'm one of the 2% old people. And I survived the first fight of Harry Helmsley, so I'm glad, so happy to see all of you out here. Clearly, this is not about neighborhood development. This is about real estate money. So let's be frank with each other about that. And the other thing that I want to add is that I really think we all need to be very alert to zoning changes underway. I sat in a couple of the Community Board 6 meetings, but they are trying to thwart the zoning so that we are declared manufacturing and industrial, which allows amusements in our area. Now, maybe once upon a time, even before my time, we were industrial manufacturing, and there was a stockyard where the UN is located, but that was over 100 years ago. So this zoning business that's going on right now has got me more worried than anything, because all that you need is a gaming license and zoning. And what I'm hearing tonight is making me very nervous, and I think the zoning in particular is something we need to be very alert to.
Hi, my name is Lisa. I'm actually a volunteer at a actual local organization, Friends of St. Garden Park, that is diagonal from the sites. And I recall when I was a resident of New York City, the last fight about what was proposed there. And I just wanted to read, because I feel like nothing has been mentioned about this. I think we talking about affordable housing, and that affordable housing is solely connected to the casino at this point. But there was a conversation about affordable housing on that site. And to just quote this article, in 2008, he won city approvals for a $4 billion project design, that included 7 towers, 5 acres of public gardens and walkways, and a public school, and affordable housing. So just want to bring that back there. This affordable housing is not affordable. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Tina from Kingston, and I want to thank you for having this open forum and us just to have our views seen. And I'm wondering if you know if the other 5 sites in Manhattans are having similar kind of open forums. And I don't have the same, I don't want it to happen here where we live, but I also don't want it on Hudson Yards or anywhere else in a small island. So I'm wondering if the elected officials could all get together, the 5 places, like yourself, and all talk to the constituents, as well as letting us know their contact numbers so that we can contact them, not in just our area, but in other areas. We don't need any of this in the small island.
Yeah. Thank you. I'll directly respond to that quickly. So I'm also co-sponsoring Senator Krueger's town hall, which is virtual, that she mentioned earlier today. We can also send out that information. She will be convening folks from other proposed sites throughout the city. I do know that there have been some other town halls for a few of the sites. I don't speak for the other electeds in the other areas, but from my understanding, I think there's been a couple. But yes, I would definitely encourage folks to go. And you know, we're participating as part of that because we believe in, like you said, you know, what's good for our Midtown community is also being plugged into what's happening across our borough, across our city. So we are making those kinds of connections as electeds. Yeah.
Can you send us the emails again, who we contact?
Right.
These 6 voters that we need to get in touch with?
That's great. So our office is gonzalez@nysenate.gov.
Anything that you sent all of us to come tonight?
To include the,
Where we have the process with all of us?
oh yes, absolutely. We'll include contact information where you can call, how you can join the next town hall.
6 numbers.
The 6 numbers that you need. Yes, for the CAC, we'll include the governor, you know, mayor, borough president, ours, and the others. So thank you so much. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah. Thanks.
My name is Nancy Wright, and I live in Cedar City. There is an alternative, and that's the route to take it back. If the property were donated to the city and something reasonable like research, which Stephen had proposed at one time, be put there for the benefit of the company and the family, they would get a huge tax deduction and a naming of whatever reasonable is put there, it would be a legacy for the family. And that's an alternative, I think, that would solve all of these problems.
Thank you. All right, we're gonna take these last 3 and we're gonna cut the line there because we're running a little over time, but thank you all so much for your patience. But yeah, let's cut the line here. Yeah, thank you.
Hi, my name is Michelle. I live on 36th for 12 years now. Thank you so much for holding this. This is so meaningful to gather as a community to speak about this. I'm highly opposed to this, like most other people in this room, but I just wanted to bring up 2 points that I haven't heard yet. The first is just, I was shocked at the lack of diversity of the people that were brought today to represent. You don't know if it's a she or her that you mentioned at one point, but there needs to be diversity in leadership that reflects the communities that you're trying to bring your things to. So you can put up pictures where you're showing diverse people, but if it's not within your organization, how are we supposed to believe that that's what you're bringing to our community? That's point 1. And point 2, just really quick, I'm shocked I also haven't heard it, is how this will impact congestion pricing, and the fact that we are a supposedly a central business district. This is a neighborhood, it's a community. I'm already very concerned about what congestion pricing is going to do to our marginalized communities, our small businesses, and how this will intersect with that is just, that's so much change and not a good way for our community. Thank you.
Kyle Market, right down the block from the site, and the chair of community board 6 when those resolutions were written about a year ago. I just wanted to add that that resolution was supported by the board of directors in Cedar City, Turtle Bay Association, Sutton Area Community, as well as the PTAs of 116 and University. So I think the community has been very clear about how we feel about this. And personally speaking, I just want to urge us, I know I'm speaking to the choir, to not be seduced by fancy renderings, by overpromises. These are the developers' Trojan horse tactics to get things done. And you know, while we want something to be built on this, something shouldn't mean anything. So let's not sell out our community for this. this, let's do something actually productive.
Thank you, that is something that Mohegan is important to me, certainly appreciate it. I'm Rosemary Wall, I live in Kingsley, and I'd like to speak against the casino on economic grounds, potential economic grounds. What are the income projections for the current casinos and 3 more casinos are added downstate? Is there a ceiling to the market for gambling, or is it unstoppable? I think we need to be aware of potential economic downturns, which can affect the demand for casinos and then also affect the affordable housing that's being offered, and there will certainly be a need. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, give yourselves, for those of you who have hung in there, a round of applause. Thank you to NYU Dental and everyone here. Very much appreciate your comments. I want to call out that Soloviev, I think you're still here or hanging out. Folks have questions and want to talk to you. You're towards the front, same with myself, and I know our team is here. But thank you all so much. Have a good night. Thank you. Thanks. And bye to the folks at home. Thanks. Did it. Okay. Should we have fun getting people on board?
Oh, yeah. I think the proposal is out there. Oh, yeah.